Good day, everyone. My name is Jill, and we're going to talk about the Gemini Midheaven people. I forgot this. I'm so sorry. Adding it in now in August of 2019. Anyway, if your natal chart shows that you were born with your midheaven in the sign of Gemini, that means that you are an air sign midheaven, and the air signs rule the intellect. Air sign energy is what? The element of air. Where is air? Air's everywhere. We breathe air. It's all over the place. We can't go anywhere without air, right? And so I want you to remember that about your midheaven. Air. It's air. And I want to talk a little bit about that as we get into this. So Gemini energy rules communications, writing, speaking, talking, training, teaching, listening, more than one type of career. Gemini energies love to multitask, and let's do it. I've got a meeting at 7, and then I'm going to talk to my boss at 8. Then I have a long distance call at 9. I've got Susie coming to my office at 10, 11 o'clock. I'm going to get a memo out. 11 o'clock, I'm going to get a memo out to the team. At 12 o'clock, I'm going to lunch with my favorite vendor. And then from 1 to 5, I am going to be in class. Yeah, that's Gemini Midheaven energy. And so Geminis move quickly. They're really good with paperwork. They're really good at presenting and talking and speaking. They make great attorneys in their career. They make great teachers. They make great speakers. They are communicators. Communication. And one thing I notice a lot of Gemini midheavens have to do is, because they are so multitask oriented and good at it, is sometimes they get taken for granted at work. And sometimes, because they can get so much done, their manager goes, oh, okay, wow, you got all that done so well. I'm going to give you another stack of things to do. And so that's one thing Gemini midheaven energies need to be mindful of, is you do too much, and the next thing you know, you got more to do. And as much as you are up for the task, sometimes it's too much. And so the things that Gemini midheaven energy needs to be careful about, not because it's anybody's fault, but they need to be careful that they are mindful and slow it down a bit. Because a lot of Gemini midheaven energy can sometimes burn out. Why would you burn out? Well, if you're doing twice as much work and more than most people in that same job, and your boss sees it and he loves it, he's going to keep giving it to you, and you're going to say, okay, you need to slow it down and use those good communication skills and speak up and say, I probably can't get it all done in the time frame you want it, boss, but I'll be happy to try to get some of it done. The other thing Gemini midheaven career people need to be mindful of is, because it's an air sign, and it's a mind, it's all about the intellect. The mindfulness needs to come into play. Also, because they can be so busy that they lose their footing. Well, what happens when you lose your footing? You can fall. What happens when you fall? Well, it doesn't feel good, and you may have to, nurse a, 'a, 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 ' or arm or wrist because you forgot that you weren't in your body because you were so busy out there, because Gemini's an air sign. Remember, it's going, it's going, it's going. So that is one thing about Gemini energy that they really need to be careful about. And because they can go like nobody I know. And I'm not kidding. I mean, I had my mother, just looking at Gemini energy as a whole, I have firsthand experience with that. My mother was a Gemini. My father was a Gemini. One of the guys that I really loved was a Gemini. And I have lots of clients that have this Gemini midheaven energy. And there's a pattern there. Like my mother, for example, this is no joke, she would go from morning to night. She was a public health nurse. She'd get up at 5:30. She'd drop my sister and I off at the skating rink. She'd go to work the full day, come home, get dinner ready, clean the house, and, go to bed 10, 11, and repeat it every day. And then on weekends, more work going on. It was just, I was like, I'm worn out. I mean, I'm an earth sign, but I'm a rising sign of Libra, so I know that energy, the air sign energy. Move, let's go, go, go. But it's like, oh my God, my father, oh my God, he went from nonstop too, just like my mother. Not kidding. My father was an attorney. And he would be going and going, get up, he'd have breakfast, he'd get dressed, he'd go down in the office in his Porsche, so Gemini, they love their cars. He would go until 5, then he'd play golf until 7, then he'd come home, eat dinner, go back to the office and work again, and back down to wherever he was going. Seriously. And I remember my mother broke her leg once. She also broke her ankle. And my dad had various injuries as well over the years, it's a fast-moving energy. And that's what gets them in trouble, is that energy is going so fast as the air sign that they can get in trouble that way. And they just can lose their footing. And that's the truth. And so please, Gemini midheaven energies, please be mindful of taking on all that work that you take on. You do such a great job with it all. There's nobody who can communicate as good as you and write as good as you and punctuate and have all your grammar amazing. Geminis don't send you a text message where the punctuation is messy. They send you a text message where the spelling is correct and everything is perfect. Is that me as a Taurus? No. I send text messages with, I'm sorry, it's not always grammatically correct. And Geminis are really, one thing I will say about Geminis is when they've had enough, let me tell you, their words can cut deep, deep, deep. Because why? They're the orators. They know how to cut deep. They know how to use just the right words. And so Gemini midheaven, celebrate that you have that energy to do those communications and have those communications and have those discussions that most of us can't have. And be grateful that you're so good at it. Be grateful you can multitask so quickly that you can have a second job going. And so Gemini energy is also good with working with cars. And they're just busy. It's just a busy energy, folks. And it's an entertaining energy. Geminis are very entertaining. They're very funny in a kind of in a dry sense of humor way. And they do love to laugh. They really do. So if you're a Gemini midheaven, I've shared with you now some of the things and some of the energies associated with Gemini midheaven. But guess what? This is your chart. And only you're going to know how you express your Gemini midheaven energy. And it will unfold your entire life. So if you're looking at this now and you're just in your early 20s or early years, your Gemini Midheaven energy will unfold your entire life. And so I wish everyone the best who has a Gemini Midheaven, and I want to talk to you all soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.